if my can I introduce my daughter when we
Yeah.
go live? She's
Yeah,
here.
for sure.
I told her she could say hi and then she could.
Now, how's the weather in New York?
Oh, what?
How's the weather in New York?
It's cold and we're supposed to get snow tomorrow.
Oh.
So she's very excited to see snow. She's never seen it before.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Are you from New York originally?
No, some of my family is. I grew up in the East Coast and I went to college in New York. So I spent a lot of time here and I still have family here.
Awesome.
In Georgia, my daughter's never been here. So
how old is she?
She's turned 2 in October. So
Very
she's
cool.
just 2 and we've never met a lot of my family. So
that's fun.
Here she is.
Yay. That's awesome.
All righty. We are live and we're on Facebook. And that's it. There we go. Okay, cool. Keep talking. Sorry, I'm just kind of, that was almost me talking to myself just now.
I do that all the time.
I'm kind of retraining myself on the old Zoom, you know, a bunch of these, it's like, okay, let's see.
2 weeks off, right?
Yeah, it's like step 1.
Yeah. Where do I do it again? Yeah, your email made me laugh how you're like, I've been gone before Christmas and it's like getting back into it. It's so hard. I had like that holiday brain like Monday and Tuesday of this week. I mean, I was still working, but it was like just the bare minimum to get the holidays through. And yeah. So
yeah.
Back at it.
So let me hang on just a sec. Keep talking, please. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Lisa, were you in town for the holidays?
I was, yeah. So we closed Christmas Day and then we're open the following day, and then same with New Year's Day. So closed and then open. So I had those 2 weekend days off. So that helped.
It's so weird, like on a Saturday, to like have those days.
Right.
I know.
Our days were very mixed up. I think.
Yeah, I was so confused.
A little bit. And it's really, and not complaining. It's a really great thing because it's just continued. There hasn't been, what we're just gearing up for and doing the new year now. So it's a good thing. We always say it's a good problem to have, right?
I'd rather be busy than twiddling my thumbs waiting to open back up. That was a lot harder.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
We had a little technical glitch there. Apparently we froze over on Facebook, but it looks like we're back up and running. So cool. Not sure if any of that was captured over there, but that's all right. So, but we'll get going. My name's Chris Toronto. I'm with the Paso Robles Wine Country Alliance, and you're watching the Paso Wine Hour again. This is where we get some of our members on to kind of honestly just talk to each other and share some information. Maybe we have a great topic to share, which we do today. And then just really showcase a little bit of the camaraderie that exists here in Paso. We started this back in April of 2020. And so by now, we were doing it twice a week for a little while. And then we started doing it once a week. And then when things started to really open back up and we were kind of back up and running again, in earnest, we were kind of doing it when we could, but we're going to do our best again to try to be on every Thursday. So mark your calendars or set it on some sort of a reminder or something of that sort. Hang on just a second. I think there we go. You know how I was saying, like, I've been kind of out of practice. I didn't put the Zoom part live. Oh man, I'm a lemon. So there we go. Okay, now we have everything on the Zoom side of things live. So my apologies. We were only live on.
No, that's my dog. I'm gonna go get him out of the room real quick.
Great. Anyway, so once again, Chris with Paso Wine Hour. And we're going to do our best to be out on Thursdays every week now. And so please mark your calendars or watch Facebook Live to see those notifications when we pop up. Today, our show here for the new year, we're going to start talking a little bit about traveling to Paso. It's funny, but it gets so busy during the holidays. And then typically right about this time is when it just kind of drops off and we don't have a whole lot of people visiting Paso. But when we were off air a second ago, we were talking a little bit about the fact that it's still kind of busy out there. Like there's still people visiting. There's still a lot of things happening. And that's great. That's fantastic. That means people still want to come and visit Paso and enjoy wine country. And so today's topic is all about planning that visit to Paso. I've got three awesome ambassadors, if you will, of tourism and our region as a whole from the wine and culinary here to share their insights. And it's kind of like this fun trifecta too, because we've got a transportation provider, we have a winery, and then we have a restaurateur wine bar. I mean, all the three things that you need. I guess we're missing hospitality, but okay, I only have slots for 3 other people on this one. We're missing that this time around, but we'll still talk about it. Anyway, the trifecta of 3 of the things that you're going to need when you come to visit. And so we're going to get their insight on some of those things. I'm going to start off introducing Katie Hayward with Uncorked Wine Tours. Say hi, Katie.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me on the show, Chris. And my name is Katie Hayward, local native to Paso Robles, and I own Uncorked Wine Tours, started about 12 years ago, and love having people come to town to enjoy our private customizable tours.
Cool, thank you. We have Lisa Colwell with Dow Vineyards and Winery.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hey, Chris, thanks for having us. I was just saying earlier when we started this that Zoom is not my favorite thing, but PRWCA is, and so is Paso Robles. So I was really happy to be part of this today. So my name is Lisa, as I mentioned. I'm the family estate ambassador up at Dow, which is off of Adelaide Road. So family owned and operated winery and open 7 days a week. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later, I think.
Yes, we will definitely. Thank you for being on, Lisa, and thanks for
Thank
dealing with Zoom on our behalf and benefit. We appreciate you being on.
Great, yes.
And Julie Fisher with the Paso Robles Wine Merchant coming in from the East Coast at this moment in time. And you're on mute. There you go.
Hi, thanks for having us on. You can hear my 2-year-old daughter in the background. We're visiting family in Merrick, New York right now. So we're actually 3 hours ahead, and that's great to be joining you here. We've got 5 kiddos in the house right now. So if you hear any of that, I might put myself on mute sometime during the show, but I'm here and happy to be part of the conversation.
Awesome.
My husband and I own the Paso Robles Wine Merchant, which is a wine bar, shop, and restaurant in the Paso Market Walk. And we are just excited to be here on the show with you guys. We love the Wine Country Alliance.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks, Julie. And it's great to have the 3 of you on. Like I said, we're going to be talking about what makes up that kind of perfect wine country getaway. And so we're going to get into some of your backstories. We're going to get into, a little bit of what brought you into the position that you're in, or maybe what brought you to Paso, and all of those types of things. That's typical with the Paso Wine Hour. But a real quick, we've got some shout outs because I was lagging in getting Zoom going for our regular Zoom audience. I do want to say hey there because we got a chat here from Steve and Martha Hewitt there in Columbus, Ohio. Thanks again for joining us. And I see it's getting cold and snowy where you are. So that's, but you're digging in with one of those ditch diggers from dinner. That's awesome. Sandwiches, it looks like. So I'm sure you're going to have a fun evening after the show. And as well as to all of the other regular watchers over here on Zoom. I see a lot of the regular folks that make up our audience on this side of things. And so thank you again, you guys, and sorry about the delay in getting that going there for you. All right, what makes up that perfect Paso wine getaway weekend or weekday? I mean, midweek is also exceptionally important, but what makes up that perfect getaway? Me personally, I think coming up with that perfect plan of where are you going? How are you going to get there? What are the things you're going to try to experience? How many days do you have? Those types of things. But we have 3 professionals here who are consumer facing. These 3 are also some of the nicest people you ever meet, by the way, in Paso. And they are talking to our guests all the time. And so I want to kind of kick it out already. And I'm going to start with Katie. Because Katie, you've got people calling you and they're going to be like, okay, I'm coming to Paso. I've never been there. I'm curious as to know how many people you might actually get that are people that have never been to Paso. But I've never been there. I mean, what are some of the first things that you're kicking out to people as far as like some recommendations? Like how are you setting people up when they're calling you up?
I actually, newbies are my favorite. I mean, there's definitely, since our tours are customizable, people are welcome to ask and say they want to go here, here, and here. Dow is definitely one of the top requested wineries right now. But when they just are like, I've never been tasting, I've just heard of Paso and I'm so excited to, come there. And so I first find out, what types of wines they like, what kind of experience, do they want more educational? Do they want views? Do they like red wines, white wines? Do they want a cave tour? So I kind of preface all of that. And then I come up with some options for them. And then we customize the tour from there. But that's my absolute favorite, because then I follow up with all the clients after and just getting their feedback about, oh my God, those wines you nailed it. And all of that. That's like, it's almost like a game for me, and it's really fun. And I love that part of my job.
Well, and also, I mean, your tours are, I mean, the people that are working for you and drive, and you still drive as well, but the people that are working for you, they're not really just drivers though. They're kind of
I call them they're transportation concierges. So
yeah.
they really, I mean, specifically now everything's a scheduled tour. You have to have a reservation. So they're keeping them on time, but they're also like, they know the area very well. They're not just a driver. They're talking about Paso and what's going on, and taking photos, bringing water bottles. Like, again, they're concierge, making dinner reservations. They do it all, and really make for a seamless experience for the guest and people. That's another thing they always say is like, it was seamless. I felt truly on vacation. I didn't have to make sure we were leaving the winery at this time. Your driver just came and took us away, and it was safe and fun and all of that. So yeah.
And do you think that I mean, I'm going to assume you put them through some form of training to understand and know the region a little bit.
Oh yeah, we do. I've
That's
actually
a selling point.
Yeah, I've had Allie from 15C come out and do a tasting with our drivers and kind of go through all local Paso wines and history. And so, yeah, we definitely do that, type of thing. And a lot of them are people that have been here for a really long time. And so they know the area, they know, where it's come from and seen the growth and all of that. So I think that's a huge part of our tours and why people keep coming back to us. So it's good.
Paso, although we're pretty kind of all concentrated on like 46 East and West and then the hills and all of that, but things are pretty spread out. I mean, do you get people that are sitting there saying, hey, I want to go to Dow, but I also want to go to Cass, all within the same like kind of—
Definitely do. I'll be honest, I'm getting a lot more people that are coming for multiple days. And so we usually do like an east side tour and a west side tour. We'll definitely do both on the same day. Efficiency wise, they just spend a lot more time in the vehicle with us, which is fine. But I try to kind of guide them with a more logistical route, either staying on the west side or east side or doing 2 days, because that it makes a little bit more sense. I mean, it's always funny. Someone's like, oh, we want to go to Tobin James, or we want to go to Justin. I'm like, that's like 45-minute drive. So I definitely try. And I know when I travel, like I look for people like me that know the area, and because you can Google stuff as much as you can, but you really don't know. The locals are who you want to talk to and find out the information from, because they know
there's a good tip for people then right there is like the locals, and the locals meaning even not just in the industry, but I suppose people that are just kind of out and about, I suppose.
Or go to the Paso wine merchant and chat with them, and they can tell you, And
I was just going to get to that too. Julie, I'm sure you get people walking in. And for one thing, the Paso wine merchant is located in the Paso Market Walk, which is all brand new stuff. So people are probably walking in going, wow, what is this place, for one thing, which is super cool. If you haven't been there, we'll get into that too, because we sponsor a Wednesday thing with the Paso wine merchant. But are you getting those kind of like people looking, they show up, they probably don't have a plan, but then all of a sudden they're looking to you to help them and guide?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have a mix of, get a lot of locals, which is awesome. And then we have a lot of out of towners as well. And because we focus on local wineries, and all of our wines by the glass that we offer are local Paso wines, it's people engage in, well, what are your favorites and what do you like, and where do you recommend we go? And especially, now it's important for people to make reservations. That's really been that way since COVID, and that's the way most wineries are operating. So if they're coming during midweek, it's a little maybe easier if they don't have reservations. But yeah, we love to engage and recommend, you know, the wineries in the area. So we get that question a lot. Yeah.
How did you, now your story is so interesting in that you and Justin discovered the region at some point in time and then kind of just decided, because you both had totally different careers outside of hospitality. And you
Yeah,
decided,
we
you know what,
lived,
Paso.
we were living in LA. My husband's family's from Los Angeles, and I was working in Los Angeles for 8 years. My whole background is in corporate retail, buying, and my husband was actually in finance for the beginning part of his career. But so we met in LA. I had been coming up to Paso Robles from Los Angeles for the past like 15 years. My very first winery we ever went to was Via Creek, and you know, we just fell in love with Paso. When we decided to get married, we chose Paso. There was no other really question in our mind. And we got married in Paso Robles in 2016. And just throughout the whole wedding planning process, fell in love with the community even more. Just the way that everybody's just so welcoming. And I think the fact that all the wineries really support and collaborate and recommend each other, and really from a point of competition, it's not looked at it like, it's looked at it from a collaborative mentality. And the community is really special in that regard. And it just seemed like it was going to be a great place to set down some roots and start our family. So we moved there I say there because I'm in Merrick, New York right now visiting family, but we moved to Paso in 2018. And we've just felt so grateful and lucky to be now, you know, part of this really special community.
Yeah,
So we love the wine. I mean, that was one of the major drawing points of the area.
the wine, and I think the great nature of this area is obviously one of the calling cards of our region. Lisa, you know, you're also local to the area, a longtime local, and over up at Dow. One quick thing with Dow from a hospitality perspective, they're really on point, by the way. And I know you're a brand ambassador there, and you're greeting people all the time. The training that the staff goes through up there, it's like on par with some of the best hospitality training that you can see anywhere, like Kimpton stuff or Hyatt stuff. I mean, people are just, you know, so knowledgeable of product and so hospitable. I mean, just really nice, right? How have you seen this area, since you've been here a while, grow and change and evolve from a hospitality standpoint?
I would think or say that even in the 9 years that I've been at Dow, the big changes that I've seen, maybe the last 5 years, so to speak, in the downtown industry part also. It's almost like a maturity of it for all of us has taken place. So with the level of hospitality, or the elevated level of hospitality at Dow, you know, we have to credit the executive teams and owners for providing that for us. So as wine education, you know, a lot of us were able to take the WSET, and I think we're maybe getting another one this year that we'll get to have opportunity to participate in. We do Harvard Business Study every January with George, that he brings home case studies for us to learn, that just help us actually just improve ourselves. And then that really generates back into what we're able to offer one another as a team and to our guests. So it's been an evolution. Somebody that used to work with us would always say, it's not a revolution, it's an evolution. So yeah, just a slow maturity to it. So I've seen it really across the board. I actually think that there was a seminar, I don't know if it was a best seminar, that was put on through you about 5 years ago at Spring Hill Marriott. And it was about the takeaway on it, or at least that's what I got driving home, was that we would continue to better intentionally support one another. Someone else already mentioned that, the friendly referrals, and you know, if a guest was ever saying anything that wasn't in the best light, of a transportation company or another winery, that we learn how to redirect those conversations and turn that around. So I think that we're all working on that and that we can all help each other that way. So,
Yeah. One of the ways that most people get referred, and this gets back to our topic as well. I'm so good at digressing, you guys. I'm sorry about that. But is the fact that most people, they probably have an idea of 1 or 2 wineries that they want to get to, but really so much of the planning happens on the fly because a winery will recommend another winery as the next experience. I'm guessing you guys do that a lot up there, Lisa.
We do, yes. Or if it's what maybe a guest is interested in. So I think one of the, and Katie, I'm sure knows this, I'm sure Julie too, that, I ask a lot of questions, but, well, what are they looking for? Are they interested in Bordeaux or Rhone varietals? And then where we may be able to help them, even if maybe it wasn't something that's a personal recommendation, it's what we want to do that's right for the guest. And I think that's really important because that's a genuine part of who I think most of us are. And that comes naturally to us. So, if the guest is happy, then we should all be happy.
And for you guys, I'm sure you guys don't sit there and go like, oh, we have to recommend. So, that's just not how wine works.
No.
Are your people though, are they encouraged to get out there and experience other brands so that way they have the ability to do that?
Yes, encouraged or just self-taught that way. So the fortunate part is many of them, I think many of the team members are focused on learning about the region. And that's really helpful, like I said, for all of us. I actually learn from them. I don't get out as much as I would like to. But just if I'm standing next to somebody and I hear what they're saying, I learn from that. And it's sometimes I walk away thinking that was really beautiful what they just did or said. And so it's just a combination of everybody's experiences locally and also in other regions, California and others. So it all works together.
Here's a fun question from over on the Facebook side of things, but the question is, how do you balance the growth of the region and industry to ensure you don't destroy its charm? And I think in a way, maybe we can give our own kind of 2 cents on how we grow as a region and how we're not losing that charm, because I've been in this position 14 years and the charm is still there. There's some feedback on one of the things. But I think the charm is still, I think that as a region, we're still seen, I think now a little bit more seriously and taken a little bit more seriously. However, the open nature and the kind of open arms to come and visit and learn and you don't have to be, fully skilled and educated as a wine consumer to be able to find your place and find your way here. I don't know, Katie, you've been doing this also for quite some time. How have you seen the area evolve, and what are we doing to not lose our charm?
I've been doing this for 12 years now, as far as just being a transportation company. And, I think it's a balance because I think that, we're growing, and one benefit of COVID and the 2020 situation is I think there's reservation systems in place, and a lot of wineries had a lot of time on their hands to up their game on the outdoor stuff, and I think it's kind of keeping balance, but also evolving too with the demand. So I think that the people that are involved in I've never actually seen so many people be we're all in love with Paso, we love it, and I think you can lose that a little bit, but I don't know. I just feel there's always so much community, and I think if we keep that, and I think everyone wants to, and the friendly competition. I'm friends with all of my transportation partners, and we're constantly helping each other out, as the wineries are as well. And I think that's where we differ. I travel a lot outside of Paso, and I just don't feel the community that I do when I come back to Paso. And I think that's something that I hear from all of our guests. Even Julie was mentioning that earlier. You just feel it, you're walking around, you just feel it here. So I hope it never goes away. It's hard to tell. You never know. You never thought we'd be in a pandemic, but I think that if we all keep, working as a team and a community together, I think we'll be able to maintain it and keep the charm and all of that around.
Yeah, absolutely. Julie, your business in particular is basically all about collaboration. I mean, you have wineries, you have local farmers and other purveyors and the like that you're working with, and that charm. I mean, it's almost like it has to prevail. There's no other way. But you're new. I mean, give me a little bit of your, I mean, I hate to say it that way, but give me a little bit of your perspective on how you're seeing this element that makes Paso so unique and Paso.
Well, I think we have the foundation of the collaborative community, and that's what makes it special. And then what we've seen over the past, I've been there now 4 years. Lisa was saying the last 5 years, and her experience has been, the most dramatic in terms of growth and change. It's all been really exciting to kind of see and be part of. We now have the Market Walk where we're located, which is new. It opened in August of 2020. Great timing during the pandemic. And then, there was several other businesses that opened actually when we did, like Amsterdam Coffee Shop and Alchemist Garden. Since we've opened, there's 2 restaurants just at the Market Walk alone, Finca, which is a Mexican restaurant, and then soon to be opening, hopefully this month, in Bloom, right next to us. So there's so much opportunity still for, new entrepreneurial growth within the community, which is, I think it's really exciting. And I think that based on the feedback we've gotten from the community, everybody in the community is really excited about it too. But I think what keeps us grounded and keeps us connected is that sense of community and collaborative nature that we all, Katie has been in, and her husband have been into our shop. Lisa, so many of your team members have been in, and it's just wonderful. Chris, the Wine Country Alliance, we have these events together now on a bi-monthly basis. So I think that is really the driving factor on what's going to really keep Paso so special, while we continue to get so many exciting new experiences and restaurants. And now we have a new music, a beautiful, beautiful live music venue with libretto and the amazing piano that Corey and Kate brought, to our community. It's exciting to see.
Yeah, it is. So, all right, back to topic a little bit. Perfect Paso kind of, shout outs is fine, whatever. I mean, Lisa, you're probably going to say you got to visit down.
Yes, I would.
Yeah, but a little, I mean, give us an idea of what maybe what you've seen or what you would recommend as some sort of this perfect Paso getaway.
Well, like Katie mentioned, asking a lot of questions, and I like newbies also, that it gives you the opportunity to help create, cultivate their time here. So it's going to be different for it. Is it a family outing? Is it families that are meeting from Southern California and Northern California, and they're meeting in Paso? We hear that a lot. Is it a celebration? Is it a birthday? Is it a wedding? Is it a couples outing? And then, you just start from there. How many wineries a day do you want to see? And
how many do you think is normal for people though?
Normal? Katie,
okay. Let's say achievable.
Well, achievable, I say nicely, would be 3. But we do have guests that will say, I want to visit 5, and they might tell you who those are. And they're, like you were mentioning, all over the, as East Side, West Side. And so to help them with that, but, we try to offer things and ideas that are going to be individual or specific to who we're talking to on the phone or emails, and maybe suggest sensorio, or did they want an evening on the coast, or, do they want to go downtown and have cocktails before dinner, and things like that. So try to spread everything out for people, and like you said, individualize it. And I only like to suggest 3 a day, because then they'll have a better evening downtown. 6 a day, you're probably not going to make it downtown for dinner.
I think downtown is kind of that it becomes one of the assets. It becomes the, okay, you need somebody to drive you around. You need to eat. You're going to visit a winery, and we've done actually 2 downtown shows now over the time of the Paso Wine Hour. But downtown's a thing. I mean, it just is. I mean, now it's even extended a little bit out of the core and over for Paso Market Walk and where you are, Julie. And so little by little, things are tying and tying together to create, I think, a little bit bigger of an asset, if you will, for Paso, because it's so charming, right? Katie, I mean, you've seen Paso in its ups and downs. You were here for the earthquake and all that.
Oh yeah, I've been here since Gary really started his winery. But I think, if I kind of gave you like my cookie cutter answer just for like a basic, where to start, most of our tours see 4 wineries, but they also have a transportation company to drive them around. And they, usually come in on a Friday. I mean, this is just a general, but usually come in on a Friday. I generally recommend staying downtown. We have so many vacation rentals downtown now, plenty of great hotel spots, boutique hotels. And I always say that's a great thing, because then when we drop them off after visiting 3 or 4 wineries, then they can just walk to dinner, because there's so many great boutiques and kind of loungy areas now. And you can go to the speakeasy and grab a cocktail and then go to dinner and not have to worry about transportation or anything once you get back. So that's kind of like my cookie cutter, come in Friday, do like the transportation with us Saturday, and then head out to dinner and enjoy the charm of downtown at night.
Yeah, that's great. That's a hot tip right there too, is staying near as you can to downtown, because then at least, you can enjoy things and you can walk back and you don't have to, necessarily grab an Uber now, no offense to all of there's so many places to stay here. There's great hotels. There's, but getting an Uber to, a vacation rental, maybe out
it's very difficult these days.
Yeah, down a dirt road, that might be a little funny, but to each his own. But yeah, it's being able to stay downtown and be able to walk is key. It's almost like everything is at your fingertips though over at Paso Market Walk, because you got some lofts there too. Isn't that right, Julie?
Yeah, there's 6 lofts actually above the Market Walk too. There's a studio, a 1-bedroom, and a 2-bedroom on each side.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool. And in addition though to not just your business, but there's other places there that you can enjoy everything from some really good Just Baked, I think is.
Yeah.
We were very lucky. I had some friends bring over some really awesome sweet treats over the holidays from Just Baked. It was awesome. It was cake.
Good.
Oh man. But you have these other things available there as well. It's almost like you can kind of have that all packaged in over there, huh?
Yeah, there's a bakery, there's a ramen bar, there's a grill, there's a vegan cheese and sandwich spot. There's, like I said, a Mexican restaurant and another restaurant opening this month. There's our wine bar with great Paso local wines. And there's a coffee shop. And so all of it is also family friendly. There's a huge outdoor seating area. There's also an indoor mezzanine seating area. So there's accommodations for people that, you don't need reservations. If you're showing up in town and you've got a large group and you can't get into any of the restaurants downtown, there's always the Market Walk can usually accommodate. And so, yeah, it's been, it's a great, I think, addition to the downtown.
So back to recommendations though, Julie, you probably recommend to-go boxes or little like lunch boxes. I'm serving softball in this one, but that's probably something you guys do a lot though, right?
We do, yeah. We do to-go orders, and people that are looking to take, they go out and spend the day out at the wineries, and not all the wineries do lunch programs. In fact, I think the majority of them don't do lunch programs. So cheese boards to go. We do different salads, grilled cheeses, anything, to take out to the wineries to kind of keep you sustained while you're out there wine tasting at your 3 to 5 wineries.
Yeah, that's great though, because that's something that you definitely want to do is have nourishment. And so I think top tips out there, obviously you're going to stay hydrated, all that good stuff, but you also, you want to have something kind of yummy to eat. You don't just want to, bag a sandwich that you made in your hotel room from, leftovers or anything. So going over to the Paso Wine Merchant, you can get some good stuff to go. Although lunches are served at some of the wineries. Lisa, I think you guys are still doing that, aren't you?
Yes, we are. So you can, you don't have to order that ahead of time. You can do that during your tasting flight and experience that. It's really, you know, cheese and charcuterie platters and some different selections there. So that's been, you know, very successful for us. So it's been quite some time since any outside food's been able to come in. I want to say even maybe 8 years ago, we had to adjust that.
Yeah, I remember those days. It was like a park.
And that's important, actually, you guys. That's really important, though, is to do a little research ahead of time to understand whether or not you can bring outside food into one of the wineries, because I'm sure some of them might be kind of cool with it. But I mean, if they have a food program like Dow or Justin or Cass, Le Cuvier, there's so many of them out there, they probably don't want you necessarily bringing, it could be an absolutely wonderful cheese board from Paso Wine Merchant. I mean, it's, but they probably don't want you bringing that. So that's one of the things you want to do your research on, is to ensure that the winery that you're going to go to, because you're going to work in food. I mean, I hear Lisa and I hear Katie, Julie, you guys say 3 to 5, but three makes sense. Why? Because you're going to go to 1 in the morning ish, you know, 10:30, 11. The next one might be your lunch stop. That might be where you either picnic or you base your stop on the fact that that winery has food. And then your third visit is going to be that one that you know is that last visit of yours. You've got some nourishment. You're refreshed and you're ready to taste again and enjoy a little bit more of Paso wine country. I have a question now, and Katie, I think I'm going to ask you this one. Is that if you're going to be putting wine or wineries into order, I mean, is it kind of a thing to go with maybe something that's a little bit more of a winery that might be more light-bodied in their wines versus ending the day in something heavier, or vice versa? Or is it a sorbet course at the end of the day?
So what I will say is nowadays, with how busy it is and with the reservation system, you might have your ideal situation, either that the client's requesting or that we are setting up, but not necessarily those reservation times going to be available. So that's become a thing, especially in a really busy time of year. So sometimes you take what you can get. So yes, I would say ideally you kind of want to taste like more of the higher end, bigger wines beginning.
Okay.
And then, do a lunch stop and then kind of finish with, kind of, because your palate gets tired at the end of the day. So yes, that's kind of what ideally we would do, but it's not really that way right now. But I will say, I kind of gave you the cookie cutter, weekend, Friday, Saturday tour, and then Sunday. But ideally, if you can get here on a weekday, that is the best time to come. You're going to miss the crowds. If you can do a couple days, the wine region is so large that you could do, we've got a couple of groups coming in for 3 days, and they're doing 3 wineries each day, because that is kind of the sweet spot where you mentioned like the lunch in the middle spot, you have 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and then you're still fresh for dinner and that sort of thing. So yeah, weekdays are the tip, and I always recommend that if people are here for several days, so they can avoid a Saturday, because Saturdays are just they're fun, but they're very busy at the wineries.
That is another key tip, is midweek is definitely one of the things that you want to consider if you can. And if you can get away at this point in time. I mean, if you've got kids in school and stuff like that, then, well, maybe that isn't happening unless you got somebody that's really awesome that's going to actually say, okay, yeah, go on a wine trip while I watch your kids for you. But key tips out there, anything, Julie, we're talking about obviously making sure that you have some nourishment in you and all of that good stuff. But when you came here and you discovered Paso, there must have been some key tip that you learned at some point in time that was like, oh yeah, that's Paso, and I should do that while I'm here. I'm putting you on the spot.
I think it's honestly, I think the key is planning in advance. I think it's planning, and I think that's the best way to do it is just from a geographical standpoint, where you're going to get to the wineries you want to get to. If you plan enough time in advance, you'll be able to get into the restaurants you want to get to. I think planning is the key. Everybody pretty much requires reservations now. So it's really more important than ever, I think, to pre-plan.
Yeah, that's a good point. And especially with the reservation thing, you know, if you're looking at, the other thing is that if you are coming midweek, take special care into understanding what restaurants may or may not be open, because some restaurants like to take a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Monday, Tuesday, or something like that off. And you know, that's their closed days or whatever. And so you want to make sure that you're looking for that. And then also make those reservations and make them well in advance. But if you're having a last minute kind of trip to the region and you're just, you know, kind of coming as you go, I would say one of the things is that's not a pre-planned thing, but trusting the wineries and trusting that if you've got a couple in mind to go to, that they're going to steer you in the right direction is what I believe. I don't know, Lisa, you might want to enlighten us a little bit more on that one, but I think just trusting those people, obviously we talked about it already, but you guys are pretty knowledgeable over there when it comes to recommending other brands.
Yes, definitely. Like you said, I just want the guests to be happy. I just feel like we feel like that's the right thing to do for them. And it comes back to everybody. It's a circle. Right. I'm not going to refer someone to something that has anything personal in it for me. It's what they want or and also what I may know about that location. And actually, if I don't know, I go ask one of our team members, or I make phone calls myself and make sure I'm doing the right thing by the guest. So I'm just curious too, for like Katie, is she booking? Are you booking out a whole month in advance, 2 months in advance? You know,
yeah, in the busy season, our Saturdays specifically, we're booking out about a month or two in advance. So, and we have a fleet of 9 now. So, yeah, it's if you're gonna do a Saturday, like, you know, dinner reservations and transportation needs and winery reservations are all very important, specifically if you're coming for a large group. The weekdays are a little more flexible for everybody, but yeah, it's a good problem to have, but
Wow, 9 vehicles. I didn't realize. That's amazing. Great for you.
Yeah, it's fun. It's been a
It
ride.
all started with a captain's hat and a van conversion, I think, as the story goes.
Yeah. It started me and myself in a van, and yeah, we just kind of grew from there and pretty much bought a vehicle every year since. And yeah, it's been fun.
Wow. Why the captain's hat, by the way?
Well, that's a really good story. I'll try to keep it really short, but my husband and I I'm in my husband's office and there's a sailboat behind me, but he's really into sailing and we decided we were going to move to the Virgin Islands. And so before that, he was getting his license and we were getting everything prepped and planned, and we made our house a vacation rental, and that was before Airbnb or any of that was a thing. And then we were living offsite in an RV, and I had just started Uncorked, and I was just going to do this little business until we moved to the islands, right? And so I got my first call and they're like, can you be in San Luis in an hour? And I'm like, yes, of course I can. You know, never have I toured anybody around. I barely knew how to drive this big van. I mean, it was like, I was just gonna make this happen. And so I took my shower and we're in the RV and I forgot my hair dryer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't go down there with wet hair. I'm like, oh, how unprofessional. And my husband had just got his captain's license, and his work had given him the captain's hat. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wear this down. So I threw it on and I went down, and you know, the funny thing is everyone was like, oh, I love your captain's hat. Can I take a picture with you? Can I wear it? It was like, I'm handing out business cards. So it became a marketing tool, but it's also a branding tool, because there are so many people at the wineries nowadays, and there's so many drivers and different driving services, and people can be like, oh, there's Uncorked Wine Tours, they have the captain's hat, you know? So, and people have fun. I mean, one of my drivers, his name's Michael, but he goes by Captain Mikey, and he has a whole spiel that he says in the beginning. And, you know, it's fun. And, you know, why not make life more fun? I mean, really, at the end of the day.
That is so cool. So everyone wears the captain's hat.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, we're getting along in time, and I told you guys, I mean, I'm sitting here sipping on wine. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, I keep hearing that voice.
But what are you, Julie? What are you sipping on, and why?
Well, I love Paso Robles. We built our entire business of Paso on Paso sustainably farmed wines. But I'm in New York right now and a visiting family. And when you go to the wine shops here, it's really focused on international. However, Lisa, I saw Dow in the shop that I was at. So Paso was represented in Merrick, New York, with Dow. So that's awesome to see. But it's really internationally focused here, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so tonight, and I always look for sustainably farmed. That is one thing that is kind of a philosophy and a value that we have with our entire business, is kind of sustainability. So I look for the sustainably farmed wines, and this happens to be an organic wine from Sicily that I'm drinking tonight.
Oh,
That's all right. I understand. You guys, seriously, when you're back east, I mean, maybe not. And I know there's going to be a comment, by the way, from our friends over in Columbus, Ohio, Steve and Martha Hewitt, because I know you guys have some amazing Paso wines at your disposal there somehow, which is rad. I dig that. But man, when you go to the East Coast, it is actually fairly challenging to find some of our wines, especially in New York. I know also when I go to Massachusetts, because I go there quite a bit, finding wines in different places there. But there are some brands out there that have some really good distribution. But Julie, we don't knock you for that. And the fact that you're going for something sustainably farmed and organic and all that good stuff, I think Paso one of these days will be recognized as a leader in much of that sustainability, organic, regenerative, organic, biodynamic wines. And speaking of which, it's so fun. I do see a comment here over on the Zoom side of things, that it's from Steve Hewitt, again, one of our favorite audience members. If you are with a winemaker or tasting room staff, ask where else they would recommend for a visit. Yes, absolutely. Chris Cherry and Anthony Yount have never steered us wrong. So Chris Cherry with Via Creek and Anthony Yount from Denner and a few other brands. And so that's great to hear. And I know that was one of your first visits, Julie. Mm-hmm. Lisa, what are you sipping on?
I have our 2019 Estate Cabernet Sauvignon. I actually had that at home, but there's many reasons why I grabbed that today, but I have a funny story about that too. I had a second thought and I thought, oh, maybe I should look for something like a little bit older vintage. And I grabbed, it was kind of dark in my little cellar/closet. I grabbed, just stuck my hand in there and I pulled out a bottle, and it was, you'll appreciate this, I hope. It was 2012 Soul of a Lion.
Oh, wow.
And I just found that, like, I don't know, this cool sign today. I didn't open it. I actually saved those, right? And just thought that was cute. So I said, it's 19 is what it is. So yes, a true display of what we're all about.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a wonderful wine. I did enjoy. I don't recall the vintage, although I know it was recent because I just got it. Soul of a Lion over the winter holiday, and so it was fun and delicious.
I think he was trying to get me to open it because it's been 10 years now, and so it's kind of exciting to accidentally grab it, but I couldn't do it. Like I said, I'm saving those, and so 19 it is, and so we'll call it the pre-release.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. We've got a great comment over here from Vicky. Let's see, Vicky Servin Astel. She says, Dow is a place you can stay for a while and enjoy the team, food, wine, and view. We never like to rush our visits since we come all the way from Michigan. So thank you. Since if you're coming from Michigan, yes, absolutely. I think you're going to want to take your visit a little slower and not go and make 5 visits a day, but maybe 3 visits a day. Katie, what are you having?
I'm going with the OG cab from Eberly. So nice. I was looking through what I was going to have, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give Gary Eberly a shout out. And so, yeah, I just remember Eberly growing up. And when I first started touring, I took a lot of people there for their cave tours. And I just always think it's so fun to have, Gary there sitting out front and enjoying his cab daily. So I went with that.
Would you call Gary Eberly and the Eberly experience kind of one of those can't misses?
It's just the history and yeah, I mean, he's helped put Paso on the map. He's definitely one of the first here, and yeah, and I just love to hear his stories. He actually signed a bottle the other day to me because Tyson went out there, my husband, and he's like, when you're done with Tyson, let me know.
Yeah, that sounds like a Gary comment. That's funny. Dig that. That's awesome. Julie, can't misses in Paso. I mean, you've already kind of shouted out Via Creek and Dow and the like, but I mean, is there a spot that is pretty special to you and your husband when you want to actually kind of get away for a hot second and be able to taste wine and enjoy the area?
From a winery standpoint, there's just so many that we love. It's really hard. The last one we went to that when we had a second recently was Alta Colina. They have this beautiful deck out in the middle of their vineyard under this incredible oak tree. And it's just really special to be out there kind of in the middle of the vineyard and tasting through their wines. That was our most recent getaway that we just really enjoyed. And also recently went to Libretto, which is a music venue that has an incredible wine list. I mean, it's small. It's a super curated small wine list, but it's a great list. Wines that you can't find generally out there. So we just enjoyed that experience as well recently.
Yeah, very cool. Lisa, kind of the same question to you. I mean, when you get out there and you've got is there a special place for you or a special place that you like to recommend?
Oh gosh, that is a tough question. I'm a fan of just about, I mean, everyone, like we've been talking about. I love the group of wineries. It's in the Paso Robles Cab Collective. I have a soft spot for all of them. And, when that group of people is all together for their meetings and end of year things, I think that you feel that camaraderie there. So I would say anything off of that list, probably. So maybe that's another Facebook Live on a Thursday discussion, or get more of the Cab Collective people on there, and that would be a fun one to have.
Definitely. That sounds like a really good one. I'm going to make that note. So we'll have the Cab Collective on and to talk about a little bit of what they do. And I agree, Lisa, I know it's tough. I mean, it's kind of like me. If I were to sit there and try to even imagine trying to pick somebody out of 170, and I won't, and I even in confidence, I won't. It's tough to do. I am sitting here though, enjoying a Cass 2019 Grenache. Thank you, Cass, for dropping that off over Christmas. They were very generous in sharing a few wines with the staff here. And so we all are going to enjoy a little taste of Cass today. I got to shout out Cass though, because when it comes to things that are happening here, and I know they've been on the Paso Wine Hour before, but they also, their hospitality and what they've got going on out there is pretty friggin' cool, you guys. You got to check it out. Go to their website. Because you can stay there. Again, it's one of those things. They've got it all, right? You can stay there, you can taste, you can eat. They've got a restaurant there. They've got an on-site chef that actually, if you're staying there, is bringing you breakfast and helping you to dinner. And then they also have programs that you can take part in, like their Chef's Garden program thing, where you can actually learn a little bit about what the chef is doing out of the garden and how he's sourcing that and putting it into menus and into actual finished plates. But then they also have things like this camp that they do where you can horseback ride and shoot bow and arrows and make spa remedies and things like that. So pretty neat stuff out there. There's so much cool stuff that you can get into and plan. Lisa mentioned Sensario already. Katie Hayward already mentioned being able to go over to the coast even, and because that's another one of those things that we have here. And so when planning your time in Paso, taking all of these things into account, to create some really great days is important, but also finding that right connection. I feel like we did find the right connection here today with talking to Katie and Lisa and Julie, because you guys you're forward facing, you're talking to the people as they're planning, and you're ambassadors to the region. And so I appreciate you all being on the show today. It's great having you. Last thing, what is next? What's happening? What's new in 2022? Do you have something that you're rolling out, or anything happening that might be, something that everybody needs to know? Julie.
Yeah, we do our wine merchant Wednesdays in collaboration with the Wine Country Alliance on Wednesdays. We're going to be kicking those off in February. We've got 2 wineries lined up currently. Rondine and Paso are going to be our 2 wineries that we're doing events with in February, as well as we do guest chef series where we have different chefs come in and take over our kitchen, well, in collaboration with my husband. And we do great meals just on a special night during the week, and just fun to keep collaborating with different wineries, farmers, and chefs in the community. We're continuing to focus on.
So it's half wine bar, but also there's other seating there. I mean, how many people can you serve in an evening?
On our bar and adjacent dining area, just for us specifically, it's 35 seats, and that's usually what we sell for our special dinners that we do with guest chefs. But I mean, there's a mezzanine upstairs that houses, I think, about another 35 to 40 people, and then outdoor seating for 50.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And those wine Wednesdays are fantastic. I mean, we as a team here, we always have at least somebody. I know JB from our team here. She's pretty regular in making sure that she's there representing the Wine Alliance. I try to pop in when I can, but they're fantastic. They bring out locals, and then there's always people that are visiting from out of area that are enjoying them as well. So we appreciate you working with us on that one. Lisa, up at Dow, what's happening? What's new? Anything?
Oh my gosh, it wouldn't be a new year unless we had something fun to announce, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to say to be continued. Yes, I don't have that information yet. But
That's great.
You know us.
Yes.
It will be something, right? And there might be multiple.
Always. Yes, absolutely. No, I mean, one of the, I don't remember when it was. I'm sure you know exactly the date, but I remember being downtown and having a beer at the backyard, and all of a sudden these planes flying over in formation with Dow on their wings for one of the celebrations that you guys were doing up on the mountain. And I got to tell you, that was pretty freaking cool. So right on. We'll stay tuned to what's next up at Dow.
Thank you. We will not disappoint. All right.
Awesome. Katie, what's happening? Anything new that we need to know about from Uncork Wine Tours?
I don't think there's anything new, but I kind of thrive off finding the new so that I can introduce it to all of our clients. So I'm constantly out in the public and constantly keeping up on my R&D at the wineries and networking and finding out what's new so I can share it with our clients and keeping things fresh, because we get same clients year after year and they're like, okay, what's next this year? So I gotta stay on top of things for them.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, for the Paso Wine Alliance, I'll tell you guys just before we sign off here, we've got 2 minutes left, that we've got a couple press releases coming. We've got some news. We got lots of stuff happening, actually. At the end of this week, tomorrow, we'll announce who our Wine Industry Person of the Year is. So it's always somebody really well-deserved of that award from our region here, and somebody that's done a lot to market the region and always, of course, help that tide that lifts all boats, So you'll see that announcement out there on our blog and on our podcast, Where Wine Takes You. So stay tuned for that. And then next week, we have another release coming out where we're going to detail all of the plans for our in-person events, because we're going to get back at it. Now, of course, our in-person events don't begin until the spring. So hopefully with everything that's happening out there with COVID and the pandemic right now, that we're of course able to do all of those things, but we're very hopeful that we will be able to. We've shifted a lot of things so that it is outdoors and spread out, and making sure that people are in for a really good experience. Look out for that, because that's going to be on pasowine.com as well. Next week's show is probably going to be in line with that announcement, and so I'm not going to tell you about it, but stay tuned. Go to pasowine.com and you will see what's happening for next week. Katie, Lisa, Julie, cheers. Thank you so much for being on today on the Paso Wine Hour.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being a part of it, and appreciate you being a part of the Paso Robles Wine Country Alliance's overall great membership of people. And so this was a lot of fun. So thanks. And we'll see you next week on the Paso Wine Hour, everybody. Bye.
Bye.